So there I was, looking around on the internet for something that doesn't exist again. I am talking about products here, don't, tune out. Basically, what I wanted was the ability to be able to stream the HDMI output from a simulator all the way to my Fat Sharks, which is admittedly a first world problem. However, there's no such product out there that actually exists to do that specific thing, which is weird because you have a USB dongle that talks to the laptop, but you don't have a way of getting the laptop to talk to your goggles. Other than, okay, a cable, which admittedly is a much sort of simpler way of doing it. But you could say the same thing about the transmitter. And the beauty of not having your transmitter tethered to your laptop is you've got, a feeling of freedom, an actual feeling that you're not plugged into something. So I want the same experience with my goggles. Now, obviously, this is non-trivial because you need to convert HDMI to analog and then analog to a transmitter. Actually, no. The more you think about it, the more simple it sounds, right? So I made a thing. This extremely dodgy looking piece of technology is exactly that. It's actually a HDMI to 5.8 gigahertz conversion box thingy. I'm working on the name. I would call this version 0.1, but it is quite obviously a prototype. I mean, not all things I make in Chinese takeaway boxes. Although I did enjoy this. However, it isn't microwave safe. So essentially this is cobbled together out of spare parts that I've got kicking around here in the shop and a few choice items I've sort of purchased off Amazon, but I will link all the items in the description down below. Hey, and while you're down there, give me a subscribe, why not? Anyway, enough shilling. This thing basically consists of 3 main components, and I think I can make version 2 probably a little smaller and with a few less components, but I'm going to just show you just what I've got for the moment. So essentially this thing consists of 3 main components. The blue board is the DC buck converter. Basically, it's going to convert any power source, in this case a 12 volt power source, to 5 volts. It then converts the 5 volt power supply to this USB cord, which, yes, is routed on the outside of the box. I ran out of room. I should have planned this a little better. That 5 volts then powers this green board. This green board is a HDMI to AV converter. Actually, originally looked like this. I've just cracked it out of the case because YOLO. As well as the 12 volt powering the buck converter, there's also a couple of small wires soldered to the input that go to this thing, which is your common or garden VTX. I've then directly soldered the video and audio from the VTX straight to that HDMI to AV converter. And that's it. Running the aerial onto the outside of the case, and you got yourself a HDMI to 5.8 gigahertz converter. Now, there are a couple of things about this. First thing is the VTX does get hot, so I think version 2 is going to have a fan sort of built into the case, and that case won't be a Chinese takeaway box. I can also pack this in a lot better, so I'm going to make it smaller. The other thing is that for my particular use case, I'm going to be using it with a laptop, and a laptop already has a 5 volt output in the form of a USB. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having a 12 volt power supply to power the whole thing, I'm going to run it off USB and just get a VTX that can run off a lower voltage. Pretty simple. I wouldn't say this is the best use case for this particular VTX. There are lower voltage VTXs which would be so much easier and wouldn't require the buck converter because I just power it off USB. But that's a version 2. So a short and sweet video, but I'm just trying to demonstrate the technical capability of this device. I will do an update video with a more in-depth schematics and sort of build process of the whole thing. Leave a comment below if that's something you'd like to see, but I thought I'd just demonstrate it in its prototype phase, and then we'll move on to sort of an actual thing later on. Right, well, that's all I've got for you today. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, leave a like. If you want to start a conversation, leave a comment, and I will see you very soon.